Welcome to the Love Dog Podcast. I'm your co-host, Raina Butcher, here with our host, Dr. Sarah Hensley, the owner, founder, and CEO of the Love Dog Relationship Coaching Services. You can find her at thelovedog.com or on any social media handle at Dr. Sarah Hensley. Hey, friend.
Hey.
How's it going?
It is going good. Just got back from Disney.
Yes.
And we rode a lot of rides, but I think Disney might just be like a one
It's a one and done, man. It's like Vegas
thing.
You've been once, you've been enough.
Yeah. I'll go back if Gabby gets chosen to go to Cheer Nationals again. I'll go back, but just for the performance. We're not doing the whole family Disney trip ever again.
Chaotic. I'm sure it was chaotic. But speaking of Florida, our guest today is from Florida, based in Florida, Dr. Nicole Rothman. Hey, Doc. It's good to have you.
Yes. Hello. Grateful to be here today.
We are so excited because you have so much knowledge in the functional medicine space and really just helping men and women with holistic approaches to really reach optimal health. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Want to make chronic disease optional.
Yes.
Nice.
That's wonderful. That's what we want to do too.
We do too. We want to help people get rid of the stress component of chronic illness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your practice. Tell us how long you've been practicing, how you got started, and just, fill our listeners in.
Yeah. I mean, my journey really started, I was a sick kid forever. The traditional medical everything on so many medications growing up. I was just always that sick kid my poor parents had to deal with. And they didn't really know what to do. So we just do what we do. We go to the doctor, we get the drugs, we get the diagnosis. And by the time I was in college, I was pre-med. And while I was pre-med, I was volunteering in the hospital. I was an EMT. And my aunt died suddenly at 47, and she had been on different medications, always dieting, and she was that, perimenopausal age, and it just wasn't registering right. She had an aneurysm, and it just started this little wake-up journey for me. Then when I was in the hospital, why are all these doctors and nurses stressed out? Everybody's unhappy. It didn't feel like a happy, good environment, and they didn't look healthy or seem healthy, so it wasn't connecting. So I kind of said, I'm not going that path. And a friend of mine said, look at this chiropractic school. And next thing you know, I don't even have to take the MCATs. Let's do it. I already had the classes. I didn't have to take a test. And I really didn't even know what chiropractic was. I just thought it was for back pain. And I'm like, this sounds great though. Nutrition. It was all about natural health and things that were really making sense to me because I always was in the gym. I was one of those people back in I hate to say it, but early 90s when I was in college, and I was in the gym, and it just was unusual for a woman to be in the gym back then. But I always loved fitness. And so it really spoke to me when I read what it was about. And so while I was in school, I was in a car accident and I started having chiropractic care, and all of my health issues started healing. And chiropractic was wonderful, and it helped with some things. And then I started actually seeing someone that we would now call functional medicine doctor. That was just a holistic, the crazy doctor that did all these weird tests and made you fast and do all these other things. And my body just started to heal and change. And I went on this 5-year kind of trial and error journey on my own of trying to figure out how to heal everything from asthma to miserable period cramps to constipation and headaches and weight that would never go away no matter what I did. And it just led me here. And so through all of that, I became so passionate about teaching people about how to live a healthy life, how to have the right mindset, how to work out, how to be positive, eat a certain way. And then eventually, and I was mostly in a chiropractic practice, and it was a little frustrating because people just want me to fix their spine, fix their neck, they can go live a crappy lifestyle and then I would fix them. And this was super unsatisfying for me. I wasn't fulfilled, and I wanted to quit every year. I wanted to quit, even though I had a wonderful little family practice. I adjusted pregnant women and babies and families. It was lovely. But I just wasn't fulfilled. And in 2017, I actually broke my shoulder and decided this is it. I'm reverse engineering my whole entire practice. And that's what I did. And so for almost 10 years, a little over 9 years now, I've been practicing what we now call functional medicine. And so really a lot of this came from my own healing, that I realized it's not just one thing people need to be healthy. It's really this combination of the right things. And now I'm discovering you and all that you do and how all that plays in too, which has been, holy crap moments for me personally, which I love. And I'm starting to really learn more and bring that into things for the people I work with. So it's been an awesome journey.
I love that. I love that because obviously Dr. Hensley's whole premise is, how do you heal trauma holistically? And so this is a very good partnership, I think. There's so many things that I want to talk about. Obviously, you got in at a really great time because I think I've said this before in the podcast, I think human beings are becoming more conscious of the ways that we can heal ourselves. I actually watched something last night that I thought was really profound. And it was just this guy on Instagram. And he said, Western medicine is really great for something, and that's emergencies. But beyond that, it's really not. And so I think that when it comes to functional medicine and holistic approaches and ways that we can heal our bodies, it doesn't create this loop, right? Where we Band-Aid one thing in order to fix another. And then when we fix that thing, we just have another issue. And so I kind of want you to start at the beginning, like when you see one of your typical clients that come in, and then how you guide them through your practice.
Well, the first thing, not everybody's ready to do what I do.
Yeah.
I think you probably can relate to this.
Yes.
You got to be willing to do the work. No one can
right.
do it for you. There's no amount of money that you can pay someone to make this happen. You have to actually be willing to put in the energy, put in the time, make the changes, overcome the challenges, become a person that actually lives a healthy lifestyle. And so most people find me by, I do webinars, I have a book, or they get referred, or just different ways. And then I literally interview them. So I sit down, they have a consultation, I interview them. The interesting thing is there's been, like you were saying, this is such a great time to get in. And I've seen this paradigm shift. I mean, of course, in the last 5-6 years, it's been drastic as people are like, wait a second, this doesn't really make sense anymore. I don't really think that's maybe what's happening. And people
They've been lying to us.
They're questioning more than ever, but at the same time, what's emerged is a lot of shiny objects that are out there. And so people are also frustrated because they do want to try, and they are watching 30-second TikTok videos and buying a supplement, or, it's very hard to learn what to do for a person's individual health. It's complex from little short clips. It's very difficult. You probably can relate, like I said, to this.
Yes.
And so and the whole perimenopause, menopause thing, it wasn't like a choice. It wasn't something I thought I would ever be into to help people with. And like you said, I do help men too, but I just have a bleeding heart for women going through these changes, because nobody knows what's happening. No one in their life understands them. They don't understand themselves. It's frustrating. They don't feel well. And they could be living a healthy lifestyle, and it still can be not so good. And it impacts everything from their relationship to their work, their, hobbies, just the ability to be who they know they are inside becomes impossible.
Yeah.
And so when I started being able to help these women, and I realized how ignored and dismissed they felt by conventional medicine, I just said, I just have to dig in my heels in this and really figure out how to truly help. And then, of course, one day I went into menopause and it was like, oh, I get it now. Okay, how can I quickly, so it kind of evolved into this, which I'm so grateful that it did.
Yeah. So are the majority of the clients that you see women coming to you in perimenopause or in the throes of menopause? And I want to shine light on this because obviously we're both experiencing this in our own lives.
Yes.
And then I know based on the statistics of this podcast, a lot of our listeners and the age group that listen to this podcast are probably in the same position.
It's our key demographic.
Yes.
Are like people approaching perimenopause or in perimenopause.
And menopause, yes.
And menopause.
For sure.
And I think I don't want to isolate our male listeners because this is relevant if you have a female partner.
Absolutely.
You know, to understand some of these things.
Yes. And I think that, you know, growing up, I remember like maybe my mom and her friends talking about the change, right? Like it was just called the change. And, you know, you thought it was hot flashes.
Yes.
And that was it. Like it was hot flashes and night sweats. And that was the gist of it. But I think what's emerging and what's so interesting and so beautiful too, because, you know, like you said, it's been ignored for too long. Women's health has been ignored for too long in the sense of, it's so much more than that. It's so much deeper than that. And what's happening to women, both physically, but more importantly, mentally, when they approach this stage of life, it's very foreign. Like I just had an emotional breakdown just like a week and a half ago to my husband where I was just like, I've lived in this body for almost 43 years and all of a sudden it's feeling very foreign to me.
Yes.
And I don't know how to, I don't know what to do.
I watched an expert say that there's an actual symptom of perimenopause that they have named called I don't feel like myself. That is one of the most common phrases people use when in perimenopause. So just talk to us about perimenopause, what it is, what can happen, and more importantly, how do you go about treating it?
So first of all, I don't use the word treat in my world. Okay, that stays with the medical doctors.
Okay.
So it's all about the root cause lifestyle way that we teach people how to do this for themselves. So I wanted to just be a little bit clear on that. And let me help you with the stages. So, I mean, we all know puberty.
Right.
Okay. The brain connects with your sex glands, where women ovaries and the men testes, and now, we got hormones. And it takes years, remember. And if you have kids, you know you've been through it more than once. It takes years to be getting all those hormones in place. And when we go through perimenopause, which can start as early as 35 for some women, and typically more, it's going to be 40 and up, but some are younger. And it can take 10 to 15 years to get into menopause from perimenopause. It can take a really long time. And what's happening in that time is the brain is disconnecting from the ovaries. And now the job of making your sex hormones, your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, is getting handed to your adrenal glands. And I know you know what those are responsible for.
Yes.
Our stress response.
Yes.
Okay. So here we have these little teeny glands that have all this work that they have to do. And now they're getting 3 heavy duty new jobs. So if we are stressed to the max, running all over the place, working our butts off, taking care of the house, taking care of ourselves, going to the gym, all the things, then we're not maybe getting enough sleep or prioritizing how we eat or the life stresses, all the physical, chemical is a big one, and emotional. The adrenals are like, screw this, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing those new jobs. And if they are, it's not going to be very well. So that makes that transition much harder. And some months your ovaries are there, some months they're not. Some months, right? So we start having erratic periods. Like there are signs of things, but what happens very often is progesterone tanks a lot quicker than estrogen. And this is because progesterone is a building block for your cortisol anti-stress hormone. So now we're out of balance, progesterone with estrogen, and now we see a lot of symptoms. So a lot of women get fibroids, heavy bleeding, cysts. So they start seeing worse symptoms, side things. So next thing you know, the hysterectomy is recommended. All of this. It's just like an ongoing saga. So just to give you that idea, menopause is 1 year after no periods. And then it's considered postmenopause, which is, I just call it menopause forever. Like we're in that stage, we're not going back. And in the past, your brain used to just say, hey, ovaries, just make more of this stuff. But then that's not there. So it's going to only be the adrenals that are really running that show. And so that's why we start seeing more symptoms. Plus, we have a lot less of the hormones. And there's something really interesting. Well, one of you were saying something before, and it made me think, because I know, you were saying your listeners of this age range. And the reason I believe that is, and I'll give you an example of where I got this from, is because when we go through menopause, that I don't care anymore kind of a thing, what really is happening is those nurturing hormones that have been driving us since we're 12 years old, of the putting everyone first, taking care of everything and everyone, it's all gone. And now we have to deal with our life that we just created around living that way. And more women get divorced after 40. And I think it's like 70% of the divorces are initiated by women after 40.
Yep.
More suicides after 45. Between 45 and 55 is like the number one decade for women to commit suicide. So there's a lot of psychological connection, and emotional connection to going through all of this. And I would like to share what I went through that really had me understanding this. As I've been listening and learning from you, Dr. Hensley, it's been like the most biggest light bulb I've ever had in,
Oh, wow.
I don't know, since probably I went to chiropractic school and had that wake up. And when I just had my second divorce. Thus what is happening here? I need to fix this problem, searching for things, right? My first marriage was narcissist, alcoholic, abusive. Yeah. And I got pregnant. We got married. I was basically pregnant for a year, nursed for 2 years, pregnant again for a year, nursed for 2.5 years. Then all those hormones went away because I stopped nursing. Guess what happened? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Wake up. No more of this nurturing, excess estrogen and progesterone, right? Excess hormones while you're going to be doing all those things, pregnant or nursing. So that was the first wake up. Now I'm in the second marriage, whatever. I mean, I consider myself an FA in healing. He's definitely DA. Didn't know any of this until, less than a year ago. And as I started going through menopause myself, that's when we started having problems.
Okay.
That's when we started having problems. Now, in retrospect, I understand everything. I see it so clear. And I believe that those rest of those hormones, they're just, they took a hike, and then it was problems started happening again. Like, wow, I've been abandoning myself again. Wow, this isn't acceptable. And I wasn't happy.
Yeah, totally understandable. And it's actually very, very common for people to go from narcissistic partners to dismissive avoidant partners. That is actually a very common thing that I see. And I can see where you're coming from. If your hormones are saying, I'm not willing to be the nurturer, I'm not willing to be the driver of the connection, then these behaviors would feel even more terrible than they do when you have those hormones in your favor. It would be like, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I can imagine that's how it would feel.
Yeah, because then at what point, who's making the initiation then, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're gone and you're married to a dismissive avoidant who probably has never been very intentional in taking initiative, then what do? You're just kind of stuck on these two separate islands, which I know you see so often in your practice.
I do.
And even the people that I talk to, about Dr. Hensley services, so many men, there's been a pattern. So many men are coming in and being like, my wife wants nothing to do with me. And they're always in this age range.
Yes,
they are always in this age range.
And they will say, it feels like a switch just flipped and now she's just intolerant of me.
Yep. Yes.
I hear that so often.
And I think it's important that's why this conversation is so important, because I know that a lot of men feel lost when that happens, and they're not totally understanding that it's past emotional. It's physiological. And they're not really considering that. And so they just feel like failures, right? But when they can get this whole picture of that it's more than that, then we can normalize it and understand it. And then you just kind of got to hunker down and wait about 10 to 15 years to get through it, hopefully. I mean, I actually looked at my husband one day and I said, just give me 10 to 15 years and we'll get through this.
Hopefully, we would love to hear.
No.
We would love to hear the ways in which you support women.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that having this first and foremost, the knowledge, and for the male partner that doesn't really get it, to be willing to have different types of conversations and really understanding, because imagine she doesn't even know who she is anymore. So how is he going to know who she is? And you're not the same. And we were talking about brain fog before, and literally there's research. Dr. Lisa Mosconi, she does the Menopause Brain, her book, and she does all this brain research on women's brains during menopause. And she talks about how literally the lack of those hormones starts changing our nerve endings and almost like cleaning them away so that we can step into a different role now. America is really one of the few places where older women are shamed and looked at negatively for aging.
Yes.
That was one of the reasons I grew my gray in, by the way. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
And because I wanted to kind of take a stand, because in other societies around the world, women are revered for their wisdom and knowledge.
Yes.
And it's looked at so differently here.
Yes.
So it's very interesting on how the brain actually changes through this, and that we do get more, it does come back. And there are things, of course, that I can share that we do to help that.
Yes,
please
do.
Please talk about brain fog.
Yeah.
Please talk about brain fog. One of my superpowers has always been being able to be very smart and articulate and a great orator. And it really helped me in academia when I had to give lots of job talks or professional presentations at conferences. And I wouldn't even have to barely prep, right? That it flowed out of me. And now I find that I trip over my words more. I can't think of the name of something.
I forget
words. And I'm just like, who is this person?
Yeah.
That is so bizarre to me because it is so foreign to who I have always been. So please talk about brain fog.
So I would say there's several things that are really important. And remember, I was talking about in that perimenopause, how brain is online, brain is offline. Hormones are strong, they're weak. They're we go through all these erratic changes. And in that time, some interesting things also happen. Our body tends to dump whatever toxins have been stored into our system. So that is one of the issues that we start having more or less resilience, I should say, to our body and our ability to detox. So one of the things that actually can happen is our brain is not properly detoxing. And so we always want to work on making sure we're getting stuff moving in our bodies and detoxing. And how can we start taking a look at our everyday life and lower our toxic exposures?
Okay.
And so that's going to be really important. Getting proper sleep, things like paying attention to your circadian rhythm, get outside in the morning when the sun comes up. We don't realize how much our brains need this to be working the best and most efficiently. Working on the stress is a big deal. And I don't just mean we meditate away everything, but regulating our nervous system, processing our old stuff.
Yes.
A lot of times it's old stuff that we don't even realize is coming up.
Us. Oh, yes.
So, and making sure we are getting exercise. I know not everyone does that, but it does help a lot. And so it's just the combination of things. How can we support our body nutritionally, get the right exercise, work on our stress management, and make sure our cortisol isn't overriding?
Yes.
And also gut health can play a big role in this too, because your gut is your brain's brain. So if we're leaky or you have an inflamed gut, you're going to have an inflamed brain.
Yes.
And so really taking a look at all those elements and reducing our toxic exposures, working on our thought processes, and really, working, it's really this like multifaceted approach to how we do things. But I think it all starts with, how do you put yourself first? How do you invest in yourself, like, every day?
Yes. And I think that maybe what has contributed to it was just the year ending burnout that I think both of us felt. And we talked about that in previous episodes, of just trying to build this business that scaled so quickly, quicker than we were equipped to handle and have real systems in place to handle. And so we were juggling so many things, trying to support the weight of our growth. And that left us just kind of stripped and depleted.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started noticing that my brain was kind of going offline a little bit more than it had usually been. And, I just said, I'm getting ready to turn 44.
Yeah.
But what you're saying makes so much sense, that, if our adrenals are so involved in this, and I have a lot of knowledge about the adrenals, because when I was in my first marriage, when there was abuse, my cortisol levels were so high, they thought I had a brain tumor. So they tested me for that. But no, just stress, just relational stress. And, I've experienced adrenal fatigue, and I did not know that the adrenals took over our sex hormones instead of the pituitary. And that makes so much sense.
It does.
Of why now burnout just feels harder. It feels harder to do all of the things than it did before.
I know that one symptom that I've noticed lately, I'm not sweating like I used to. So, I've been a jazzercise instructor for 15 years, which I've thought recently about taking a step back, because it is an adrenaline, very ego-driven workout. Because not only is it high aerobic exercise, I'm on, right? So I have to go. There's a big adrenaline dump when you get on stage, you're performing. And then afterwards, some symptoms I've been having are clogged ears, ringing in the ears, and just really not emitting as much sweat as I used to. So my thoughts behind that have been, wait, my adrenals are completely fatigued and I'm not eliminating toxins as well as I once did. So, when you said that, it just really hit home. I'm like, everything that I'm thinking and everything that I'm feeling, you have to trust those things. And I think that it's really important to say this. I think as women, when ailments start to show up and we don't know what they mean, one big mistake that we tend to make is we reach for anything that we think might work, and then I'm guilty of this, and then it ends up doing more damage. So I say that to ask you this. What is the most simple approach to start? Is it elimination? Like, do you just eliminate everything and then kind of start from this like brand new clean canvas of, okay, well, let me introduce this very clean makeup product or skin product, or, because when you think about everything that women put on their skin, their hair, it's a toxic overload.
Yeah. And I'm super guilty. I used to be in the sort of crunchy mom. Like, I used to be very, very holistic and natural. And like, my kids weren't allowed to eat food dyes. And I kind of got exhausted by it, because it was really hard to keep up with, especially with kids, and just wanting them to be part of sort of normal society where you can go to a birthday and eat a cupcake with red dye in it. And I got exhausted. And then the pendulum swung so far the other way where I just stopped caring at all. And now I'm back to, I need to start caring again. So I'm going to just emphasize what Raina said and tell us where we start.
Finding some balance, because it's hard.
I want to just give you a little bit of something that you said first, because adrenals are one thing, but not sweating is different. And that's a plumbing issue. So like there's something not, when we think of lymphatic system, that's what I kind of think of as your plumbing. So not sweating is a sign there's some clogging going on in the pipes. So why is that happening? That becomes the question. That's why it's so individualized,
Right.
because that takes an hour to talk to you about. But we can't do that here, right?
Sure.
90 questions run through my head when I hear that.
Yeah.
So it's very specific to all of your toxic exposures in your whole entire life, even what your mom had, when you were in her body.
Oh my gosh. My mom drank tab and smoked cigarettes when she was pregnant with me. I'm in trouble.
Starts out that way.
Right.
And then we talked about women are way more heavily exposed to toxins than men. And one of the problems is a lot of times we're comparing ourselves. Well, he can lose 10 pounds if he just like blinks an eye. You can't look at it. Our hormones are more in charge, and it's just different. And we have so many more toxins. We just, like you said, everything, our hair, our makeup, everything. So when I hear like, do I just start from scratch? Like, it's so overwhelming to just say, I'm going to just make everything clean today. And it's almost impossible to do that quickly. I would say start with more simple, right? Like the food you're eating. That's an easy one. How can I first work on, because that's going in the gut directly. So how can I clean up the foods that I'm eating and start working on those things? I'm always more focused on inflammation. So what's one of the most inflammatory foods that we have?
Sugar.
Is sugar.
Dang it. I just had crumble cookie last night because of the Dubai chocolate one that came out.
There's like 10 things in those that I could say.
Okay, I know. Dang it.
But what I always try to focus on inflammation first and foremost. So like sugar and artificial sweeteners, we can lump together because the artificial sweeteners, they were terrible for our brain, I know you love your Diet Coke. I'm sorry.
I built my business on God, grit, and Diet Coke.
So that's a massive like formaldehyde like problem. And soda is also carbonated, and that's not good for our bones. And so this is really important now, and especially in perimenopause, because what happens when we lose some of our hormones? We get bone loss. So it's let's pick the worst evil and start working there, right? So sugar, artificial sweeteners, there are other natural things out there if you need your like bubbly thing, okay? There are that have stevia and
Okay, I was going to ask.
They're not going to taste as good, but
I was going to ask if stevia was okay because I used to drink Zevia.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can make this.
We're gonna commit. No more
Okay,
Diet
we're
Coke.
committed. We are
do it.
seriously addicted to Diet
It's
Coke.
still
absolutely.
carbonated, though. It's
I
still
know.
carbonated, but at least you're getting the chemicals out, like the NutraSweet, the equal NutraSweet aspartame.
Yeah.
Then also another easy thing to bring inflammation down is seed oils. That's really in everything. It's so hard to get around, but it's a big one. And so if we can start looking at those things, that can make a drastic change. And also not eating constantly. Like everybody's grazing little meals all day long and picking food, like pick 3 meals, get them dense, nutrient dense, stop all the snacking, because the insulin problem is adding. Cortisol is one issue, but insulin is like 80 something percent of Americans that are adults, which means 18 and up, have some level of insulin resistance. And this is a huge problem in menopause, huge in perimenopause. It is a driving factor in the weight. It is in inflammation, in cholesterol, blood pressure, all of those things. So if we can like make it as simple as possible, right? Then those are some easy things. So that's why some people do really well with intermittent fasting, because they're eating less times a day. And so just not eating so much, because not quantity, I'm not talking about quantity, I mean so often. Like less often is better.
Okay.
But we can eat. We don't worry about counting calories in my practice. We don't do that. That is for frustrating, annoying. Everybody hates it anyway.
Right.
It doesn't last. And if you
Nobody
want
does it
people to like
accurately.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
it's
You're
not
right.
sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not. So like if we can just learn, well, what are the things I can do and how do I just make a simple kind of formula on the food? That's going to be a great first start to get some of that inflammation down.
Yeah.
Totally.
I want to shift gears a little bit to the emotional side and ask you, Dr. Hensley, is there, and you may or may not know the answer to this without maybe diving into some research, but back to, women who are going through this and then all of a sudden like want nothing to do with their husbands, the emotional component there, do you have any advice for those women to sort of get through that, ways that they can sort of train the brain or teach the brain? And I know this is a big piece of your practice with metacognition and challenging thoughts, but, because a lot of the stories I hear from these men are, my wife is icked out by me.
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, emotional safety has to be present for a woman to be physically turned on by a man after a certain period in the relationship. Because from an evolutionary standpoint, in our mating strategy, it wouldn't make sense to mate with people who inherently are unsafe.
Correct.
Right? And so a lot of drop off in physical attraction can be from not just this period of aging, but from the lack of emotional safety in the relationship and women not feeling like they can be physically vulnerable if they're not emotionally safe. Then if we add the hormonal shifts that Dr. Rothman's been talking about around our desire to nurture and to pursue and sort of coddle, right, men into good habits, right, into getting our relational needs met. If that starts to drop off, like we truly are like, I don't give a flying flip, like I'm just not going to be the pursuer anymore, then we definitely do have two very isolated people. But I think both things have to be addressed simultaneously. And I think that this is the whole sort of backbone of holistic medicine and this biopsychosocial approach to healing, is that our biology and our psychology and our social relationships are all intertwined. And so when we want to actually fix the problem, we do need to look at our biology. We need to look at our mental and emotional health and then our relational health as well. And so we address those three pieces simultaneously instead of just saying, well, this is an intimacy issue, or a lot of men come in and man, I see this all the time. And it's, well, my wife's in menopause now and she just hates me and it's because of menopause. And then I also do an assessment with them and find out that there's been attachment issues going on for years. And maybe now is just when she feels safe enough, or there's
enough?
that not that hormonal buffer there
Yeah.
for her to just say, I don't care about you anymore.
Yeah.
Like we are either going to coexist or we're going to get a divorce, because me trying to make this work and being the driver of fixing it isn't what I'm willing to do anymore.
Yeah. So it's multifaceted.
It's definitely multifaceted.
That's
and I
literally
think
what happened in my marriage. And
yeah.
I mean, it's sad that I didn't have this knowledge of attachment theory back. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
But by the time I knew it, it was already not going to happen.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I've thought about that a lot because my body didn't feel safe the whole time I was with this person, actually.
Yeah.
And I didn't even recognize it until he moved out. When he
Yeah.
moved out, I shed 13 pounds, just fell off like over the past, over months. I was having trouble breathing, which is one of the things I healed back when I first was on my healing journey. And I remember we had actually broken up early in our dating. And I remember we got back together and I remember sitting on his sofa and feeling tight in my chest.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, oh, his dog had passed, but I'm like, maybe there's still dander in the house, or I'm allergic to the dog or something. And over the years, it just kept happening.
Yes.
And I would go away by myself for a conference or something. And I'm like, oh, I feel better. And then I'd come home and it would be back. So I'm like, oh, maybe there's mold. Maybe there's this environment. Maybe it's my dog. Maybe. 2 weeks after he moved out, it was gone.
Yeah,
That's
that I
wild.
hear that kind of stuff all the time. And I think just
That safety.
that lack of safety, and when we don't truly know how to process our emotions, again, we don't take the correct signals from the emotion and integrate them psychologically. Like your brain was trying to tell you, be afraid. These signals from this person aren't right. They're not safe. But when we grow up with a lack of safety, especially for fearful avoidance, they confuse fear or excitement, and their body is not a reliable predictor or signal for them that something is not right. And when you heal and you start integrating emotions very well, which, I'm a big fan of proper somatic processing with conditioned safety, as you learned going through my program, then you can really start to rely on your body and its responses as a reliable indicator of what is safe and what is not safe, especially relationally.
Yeah.
It was such an eye opener for me because I learned this a few months after all that, and really to understand how I had that as a child and how it all actually did really go away. Maybe it wasn't all the things I was doing that I thought, or it was really my emotional processing. It's been amazing. I've been so grateful to learn all of this. And it really is, like you said, it all is integrative really together in healing and being the best version of ourselves.
Yeah. And I think too often people miss one of those pieces, right? Like just like you described, you were trying to think of any other variable that it possibly could have been versus what it really was, which was your relationship. And so too often I think people are like, well, it's this, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's this. And that's when they're grabbing for all the wrong things. Yeah. And I think that, again, that makes it more simple in my mind. Even though not everyone knows how to properly emotionally and somatically process to completion.
That's a whole nother safety. Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's like a whole episode.
It is. We did one on
that. We did. But it's so important for people to start acknowledging those things. But again, normalizing it, right? Normalizing it that it's okay. It's not, it doesn't make you broken. It doesn't make you, it's just the knowledge to have, and then the capacity to actually execute change around it, which of course is...
Well, I think this applies to a lot of what Dr. Rothman is talking about. Yeah. Tell us about, capacity to execute these changes of eating better and trying to live a less stressful life and removing toxins, because it is overwhelming. When I think about starting, it's like, okay, well, I got to get rid of all the plastic. I have a lot of kids, right? We have 4 kids. Yeah. And it's like everywhere you go, they get a plastic cup, and you're just like, I have microplastics in my brain and I don't think that's good. And, I just bought a whole new set of, pots and pans to be toxic free, and if that's even possible. And so what are some big places that we can start when it comes to removing those toxins? Because if I'm going to address the brain fog, I'm going to start this. So what do we look at first? Do we look at body products? Do we look at cleaning products? where do we go?
Just take your pick. I mean, and really that's why when we work with people, and I talk about it in my book too, about like detox and what that even means. But that's why when we do work with people, it's literally step by step, week by week, building on as we're going, because it is overwhelming and we don't want it to be. But if we can just say, okay, this week we're going to just get this taken care of. This week we're going to do this. And guess what? One of the first things we do is breathing exercises and learning how. And now we're talking more, now that I understand different things, like to completion. This is a totally different thing that I can now give to my practice members in addition to what they're already getting. Like the breathing and the journaling's not enough, right? It doesn't process it fully to completion necessarily. But how can we take this little walk, right? I'm not going to put someone in the gym that is, I met with someone earlier today. She has such inflammation. She could barely hold her mouse on her computer, and She's not picking up weights. We're not going to do those things with her.
Right.
How do we start with her? Okay, step by step, week 1, let's get the foods, less inflammatory. Just, get the sugar out, get the fruit juice out, get the heavy sugary things out. Then the next week, what can we look at next? A lot of people are sensitive to gluten. I know no one wants to admit, but a lot of people feel better when they don't eat it. So these are just some easy changes, right? So week by week, okay, let's learn about what it means to have high cholesterol. Let's teach you how to do a little more stress management. Let's start getting, we do detox with supplements. I mean, you can't get stuff out of your brain and heal the cell at the cellular level with just food. I wish I could say it was
that was going to be my next question. Like
it's not
past elimination, because again, you're infiltrated with do this detox, detox your liver.
Take this magic supplement.
Yeah. So it's like,
Yes.
what past the elimination of things, the next step in really detoxing your body. And so you said you do that through supplements, right? High quality.
You can't like detox if like you're not sweating. So I already know you're going to have trouble detoxing. You're not going to love it. We have to prepare your body to detox first.
Yeah.
So there's a preparation phase. Then we can start going in like the cells. The best way I can kind of describe it to you, you think about every cell of your body has a cell membrane. And for most of us, if we have toxins, if we have heavy metals, so we can have environmental BPA, pesticides, whatever it is. Too much cortisol can cause this. Too much insulin, it creates a lot of inflammation at the cellular level. So until that cell is happier, a little less inflamed, and we actually have healthy detox pathways again, you can't really do that. So we want to heal the mitochondria. We want to have cellular energy. We need energy to heal. So we focus a lot at the cellular level to begin with. And just unfortunately, food alone is just not enough to do it. We use targeted supplements to do that for us. And then we can start going in, and I call it like shaking the tree. But we don't want to shake the tree and just use a leaf blower and blow the leaves all over the place. That's going to only make you feel worse and lead to other symptoms. We want to actually like vacuum them up and take them out of the body.
Yes.
Whether it's, in the toilet, sweating it out, breathing. We actually breathe toxins out. A lot of our toxins come out through breath. And so just making sure that we're doing this with those strong enough magnets. A lot of people think cilantro is going to detox you. Juice cilantro, put chlorella, and like I know that's what it says on the internet a lot, but they're just very weak magnets. So they can shake the tree, but they don't get it all the way out necessarily. So that's the leaf blower thing. So we really just want to have, I don't like to see it. It's not always one size fits all. We all have different toxins we're exposed to. But we start with what's most common for most people is all that environmental stuff, but truly getting to the cell so that we can start using our hormones and getting rid of some of these hormone resistance issues that people have. And just have more energy.
Yes, absolutely. And, a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, I should say, I really got interested in methylation science and how interesting it is that we all have different sort of genetic mutations that can affect our abilities to detox. And do you address those in your practice, or do you feel like there are some sound protocols that can kind of be applied across the board, or some things that are just very applicable to kind of all humans?
Sound protocols. We don't even test MTHFR. A lot of people, if they have it, already know anyway when they're finding us. A lot of times we're the last resort. They've already been through the things. They've done the this and that. We do support methylation. It's very important. You really can't detox properly without supporting that. So we just do that for everyone. I mean, it's the world we live in and the toxic world, this burden, is too much. Normally, we do have a proper detox that our body should be able to do. But, 50 years ago, it's not the same as now.
Right? Yes.
Our kids have, I don't even know how many vaccines when they're little.
72.
Is it 72 now?
72 doses.
Absolutely crazy. we don't eat, I think about that a lot. We don't eat tuna and we don't smoke or drink when we're pregnant or all these things. They come out and let's just put all this stuff in them now.
Right.
It's safe
It's
now. All of a sudden
okay.
it's safe. But anyway, just not to get derailed because babies, even without that, they're getting all the mom's toxins.
Yeah.
Like if you have metal fillings in your teeth, your kid
Yeah.
has mercury by the time they're born.
Yes.
That's
And
wild.
So
We're-
it's a lot.
yes, and the aluminum exposure, and people will say, "Oh, well, you get aluminum, ingested." And it's like, yeah, well, ingestion and injection are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Let's not treat them like they're the same thing. But it's not just that. We do live in a toxic soup.
Yes.
I was just. My husband loves to golf, and I love to golf now because he loves to golf. But he had read something about just how toxic golf courses are.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang it.
I know.
Like here we think we're out
I
here
know.
breathing fresh air
Right, like
and
outside,
doing something
getting some
physical.
vitamin D.
And we're just inhaling massive amounts of chemicals from these, greens, these
That's why you never
fairways.
bring those shoes into the house from the golf course. You get your clothes right in the
Okay.
laundry.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's little things that make a big difference, but the jet fuel in airplanes now has aluminum. So you just
Oh
could be
my
standing
goodness.
outside, you're getting it. I mean, that's why the body can't handle all of this anymore. Our toxicity
Yes.
is so high, the burden, we can't carry it. So that has a lot to do with the obesity epidemic too, because if your body can't get rid of it, it's going to just take it and store it in fat away from your vital organs as best it can to protect you for
Oh,
survival.
wow. That
especially
makes so
belly.
much sense.
Right.
That makes so
Especially
much
belly.
sense. Yes,
Yeah.
because so many of your vital organs are there in your belly. And, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2020, and it was a huge blow to our family. For the most part, I mean, my mom was a smoker for a lot of her life, but she had probably been quit at least 20 something years before she was diagnosed. And, they grew up in a different era, kind of everybody smoked.
Yeah.
And, but after that, she owned a fitness center. She exercised regularly. She probably ate healthier than just about anybody I'd ever met in my life. She never drank alcohol. And here she got pancreatic cancer. And of all people, she would have been the last on the list of people that I would have thought, yeah, you're high risk for cancer. And luckily it was stage 1, and she's had to have a lot of intervention but she's still with us. And I'm just so concerned with what can I do to minimize my risks. Luckily there was nothing genetic that came up for that. But from an environmental standpoint, I need to start thinking about reducing my risk because literally everybody in my family, except my father, has died from cancer. And my father died from diabetes. And he started getting dementia. And I think he had like the type 3 diabetes that they talk about, which is insulin-related Alzheimer's disease, basically. And so I want to be able to make these changes, but psychologically, we've already discussed that overwhelm is something that will make people quit immediately.
Yeah, I want to make sure, like, because they're even with like blood work, right, and blood panels, there's 40 panel, 350 panel, like in your opinion, and I don't know, do you guys do panels within your practice? Okay.
Yes.
So
But we don't just do blood. We do stool, saliva, urine, and we do everything we can to get information.
Okay. So, because I think that, just to kind of bring it back in so that people don't leave this episode like, oh gosh, what do I do?
Right.
Yes.
Like, would you suggest starting there with a blood work panel and some other tests around maybe stool, your
You need
toxicity
someone
levels?
that knows how to help you with it, right?
Yeah.
If it's just going to be there, it's just going to make more overwhelm because
Yeah.
if you don't know, you're not going to understand it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we piece it together? We get a blood panel and your doctor says your cholesterol's high, this is low, take this, like that's our answers that we're given most of the time.
Right.
But how do we step back and look at the body as a whole and say,
Yes.
oh, this is the priority, right? You have H. pylori. Maybe that's why you have reflux, not because you're missing this drug.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you have
And
a
then why-
Prilosec deficit.
Right.
Right. And then why do we have that overgrown infection? What else is happening? And so there's just, don't do it to overwhelm yourself
Yeah.
because to me, when you do labs, it's to empower you. So there's a game plan in place on what to do about it. So I would say, whether it's me or somebody else, just somebody that knows how to help you and give you a real game plan on how to address it, because it is multifaceted. It isn't just take these supplements. A lot of functional medicine, that's what it is. You get the labs, you take the supplements. That's not what we do. I believe supplements should supplement a lifestyle that you're learning, and that's being given to you based on what you need, what you're about, what your life is about. No one is the same. No one's labs are ever the same. No one's history. Nobody is the same.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I look at it. Is it shouldn't be scary to get results back. It should be empowering, so that we have something to now do about it.
And you do have a book, right? So people could read your book.
Let's hear about your book.
I definitely want to hear more about your Awaken Wellness is what it's called, right?
Awaken Wellness, taking back the power to control your own health.
I love that. I mean, honestly, for all of our listeners, I think that's a beautiful place to start. I mean, sometimes picking up a book and just bringing some awareness in and some intentionality around maybe taking that next step, because it can be scary and it can be overwhelming. And then you get decision fatigue, and, the world we live in, that's a whole nother issue. But sometimes just picking up the book and starting there is a great first step. So I want to encourage all of you guys out there who are listening to go check out Dr. Nicole Rothman's book, Awaken Wellness.
Yes, it is on Amazon.
Beautiful.
And where else can we find you? If people want to find you and your practice, where can they go?
So drnicole.com is my website,
Okay.
drnicole.com. And of course, I'm in all the social places, not like you, Dr. Hensley, but I do have a very teeny tiny following. I don't put the energy. I wish I did, but
it's a lot.
I bow to you for
all the
work
you're fine.
that you do in that, and it inspires me. But well, one day maybe.
Yeah.
So I do have Dr. Nicole Rothman on Instagram, Dr. Nicole Rothman with the 1 on Facebook, and I am. Sure, I have YouTube. I have all the places.
We'll make sure that we put it all in the description as well.
Yeah.
So
But if you really want to go direct, the website is the fastest way. We do offer webinars for people to attend, so they can get a little more information about our process and how we use what we call our 5 pillars of health, and how we apply that to, whether it's hormones, menopause. Some people have hormone issues, non-menopause related. There are men out there might need help. We do work with men too.
Yes.
Like I said, I just have this place in my heart for women going through it. And, but they can attend a webinar or get a call with us. We do give, some time to people that want to see if we can help them. And we do like that a lot, because we don't, work with just anyone. We do want to work, like I said earlier, with someone that's really ready to take the steps to make the changes they need to make for themselves, because anyone we work with, they're really the hero in the story. We're just in the background, giving them the game plan and, cheering them on. We do coach people. It's really important, so they don't get overwhelmed and they don't self-sabotage and they don't put limits, and we want them to keep going forward. So,
well, what a wonderful resource for you, Dr. Hensley, to use with your own clients.
Yes.
Who maybe have that missing piece.
Exactly. Because I can help them with the relational trauma and safety in their marriage. I can help them with that piece. I can help them feel safe in their own body with their emotions. But I can't help them detox. Yeah. That is not my area of expertise.
You're the emotional detox.
Yes, that's right. And really, we all should be operating from this biopsychosocial model of health. And it is so unfortunate that our healthcare industry, even our mental health care industry, is not operating from this model. We want to take these pieces and pull them apart and act like they can operate in isolation, and they don't. They are mutually influencing each other at all times. So thank you so much for being here and talking to us about really, I learned I had no idea that's what perimenopause was. Like I had no idea. I thought it was just like your hormones are kind of sputtering out. No, apparently your adrenals become responsible. That is a huge breakthrough for me in understanding my own health. So we just appreciate you being here, and we'll encourage our listeners to pick up your book just to have a landing place to get started with all of this, because we don't want people to feel overwhelmed. Yes. We want people to feel like there is a path forward that feels realistic for them. So
I hope everyone who's listening has been empowered by this episode. Obviously, go check out Dr. Rothman at drnicole.com. And then, of course, go check out Dr. Hensley at thelovedoc.com. Obviously, you're going to need both of these things on your healing journey. And it just makes sense. I mean, like, I'm very interested now to check out your services, Dr. Rothman.
I am too.
Because and you have helped me so much, too. I want to give that back to you because
so much.
Oh,
thank you so much.
You've impacted me
thank you so much.
Way. So, and
thank you so much.
I'm really grateful that you had me on and that I got to meet, and I would love to continue to collaborate in any way. And you really helped me see a part of myself that I didn't realize.
Yes.
And it means a lot. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that. And it was really wonderful having you in the program. And I knew it about the Diet Coke, and you called me out, and I thought this lady's smart. we better talk to her. We want to pick her brain. So you have helped us as well too, and I look forward to reading your book.
Me too.
I do.
Me too. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Rothman. Thank you everybody who's tuned in today and listened to this episode. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. We hope that it was impactful. We hope that it's changed a perspective in you. Obviously, miracles always happen when perspectives shift. So please continue to tune in, like, subscribe, leave us a review. And until next time, peace, love, and perspective.